She's not a kid, don't be weird. She looks like a kid. She's really small and looks like she's 12 years old to me.
I know that some of us have had the experience of a lifetime like the bald Eggman John Tectone. But out of everything that has stood out the most is the character Firefly. She's been throwing a lot of our attention for the first of many updates into the region as a short-time friend. Some would say way too quickly. Perhaps the director of Honkai Impact Third is trying to twist the knife into the HSR community. Hey yo, Himiko 2.0, this finna be lit. March 7th when? Anyways, Firefly has served as our tour guide, our tutorial into Penacony, alluded us to the Watchmaker, led to deeper speculation into other characters, and something that I'll touch on later as a theory I've dubbed as memory recollection. In the mission Sleepless Night, we first meet Firefly in conflict with two people underneath the employment of Gallagher from the Bloodhound family. This family is one of the many that manage Penacony, and their affiliation is that of guards of the Dreamscape. They are essentially border police that work as the arms and legs of the other families. From this interaction, we've come to know that the security is in search of a stowaway on the ship that matches the report of having silver hair. Gallagher, on the other hand, denies the search-in and retorts,
"The witness report says that the suspect is a lad with silver hair, and you guys are going after a girl with silver hair. Does that even make sense? She's our guest."
The fight breaks up and we continue to travel with Firefly. This raises my first suspicion that I'll talk about later on. During this, she mentions,
Although the Bloodhounds mistook me for a stowaway, I'm actually a local. My name is Firefly, and I'm from the Iris family. I work as a stage performer, although right now I'm just an extra.
the Iris family as of the 2.0 update has nearly zero information about them from what I've been able to find. Although Sunday has talked about them both in the 2.0 livestream and in the newspaper in-game called press releases.
We have introduced performers and service personnel from the Iris family to Penacony's principal scenic areas and leisure facilities. I'm sure they will help our guests to feel right at home.
In press releases, inside the subsection, the respectable Mr. Sunday presents a special speech. It states, the representative of the family has delivered a special speech in response to the recent thriving tourism industry of Penacony. According to Mr. Sunday, this achievement is the result of the collaboration among all lineages in Penacony, and the glory should be shared. Without the Oak family's coordination, the Bloodhound family's protection, the Alfalfa family's management, the Iris family's artistic performances, and the Nightingale family's technical support, our dreamscape wouldn't be as amazing as it is today. Continuing our dialogue with Firefly, she mentions,
When there are no acting gigs, I work as a guide near Glocks Avenue. If you don't mind, I can show you all the exciting things around here. Maybe if I do my job as a guide, people will stop suspecting me.
in the next mission, Tales from the Golden Age. At the bar, after spending all your tokens on Gamma, she responds with,
I really appreciate your help earlier today. That's why I took the chance to introduce this beautiful place to you. It was willing to accept me, even though I didn't belong here. I've grown very fond of this place, and that makes me want to share it with others.
Out of the dialogue options, if you pick are you a local or are you really a stowaway, Firefly retorts with,
I'm a lawful resident. At least now I am.
or I am, at least for now. Continuing where we left off, in the next mission, Tales from the Golden Age, Firefly directs you to the statue of Clocky in Golden Hour. She mentions along with historic remarks that,
By the way, do you know that Clocky's design is said to be inspired by none other than the legendary Watchmaker?
as of yet, we don't have much info behind this character, as even the residents of Penacony don't have much of an inkling pertaining to their origins.
There are different stories out there about the Watchmaker's origin. Some said he was a traveling merchant from beyond the sky. Some claim that he was exiled to Penacony as a prisoner. And some speculate that he wasn't even a real person, just a symbol. The cartoon character Clocky is portrayed as reckless and full of hot air. But I believe the real watchmaker was a nameless.
This holds special meaning with Firefly's interest with a player character that ties in with the previous mission, Sleepless Night. In it, she says,
By the way, I've just noticed. You're a nameless, right? Is this your first time here on Penacony?
if you respond with, "How do you know?" she'll express that.
You have the Astral Express badge on you. I saw it on the big screen once. I also know that you guys often travel around different places in the cosmos.
This might not seem big now, but let me cook. I'll tie into everything later.
After all, creating the dreamscape sounds like just the kind of thing a trailblazer would do. Hold on. If the watchmaker really was a nameless, wouldn't that make him your predecessor?
In the mission, Good Omen, my friend. After meeting with Sampo,
It's been such a long time, old friend.
yeah, alright, buddy, I'm watching you. You head over to the Dreamscape sales store with both Firefly and Sampo in tow. This leads you into a submission called Lullaby of the North Winds, where you relive the story of Sampo's last dream. At the peak of the fight between you and Sampo, Firefly steps in and brings the dream bubble recording to a halt.
What a huge pity. Such a meaningful dream came to an abrupt halt because of Miss Firefly. I was looking forward to seeing your face when the truth dawned on you.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
If you respond with truth, what truth? Or what are you trying to say? Semper relays that, I'm not saying anything. I just want to reveal the truth. He then goes on to say,
Don't you think this dream bubble looks really similar to modern-day Penacony? A small stage is crowded with a bunch of scheming people. None of them want to be exposed under the spotlight, so they all push you to the front. You're not at home anymore, kid. You've wandered into the depths of the unknown. Let me put it to you straight. Don't let yourself get enticed by that glowing light. I'm gonna be very disappointed if you get bamboozled by the likes of them.
he's hinting at the origin of Firefly in relation to her following the MC's path. This is not out of interest towards the player, but for what they are as a nameless. She's trying to use us as a means to get closer to the Watchmaker.
She claims to be a local, but doesn't know how this world works. All she's got is street smarts. Who exactly is she? You don't find her the least bit suspicious?
Once you confront her, she spills that
There are things I'm hiding from you. I'm not a local. And there's a reason why the Bloodhound family is after me.
the mission, Name of Nocturne, follows us going to Dream's Edge, where Firefly plans to take us to her secret stronghold after crossing a subsection of the dreamscape. Before we can depart, we are stopped by another one of the Bloodhound's goons, stopping us from venturing forth. If you mention we know Gallagher, then that person says,
Who? Never heard of him. I wouldn't let you in even if the Dream Master were here.
this could mean a multiple things. 1. Gallagher is someone actually a part of the Bloodhounds, and this NPC is just sticking to his guns. 2. The interaction we had with Firefly at the beginning was a setup for us to get closer, and that Gallagher is not a real Bloodhound member. 3. And something I wanted to bring up earlier was that Firefly and Gallagher have connections. But he has reasons not to convict her. Once you make it to the stronghold, she states that
I'm sorry. I really am a stowaway. My hometown was destroyed a long time ago. It was probably the doing of the Legion or the Swarm, but I'm an interstellar refugee. Just like many of the Penacony locals. The Harmony accepts everyone, including wanderers from afar. family takes them in, but they don't belong here. In this splendid metropolis, some have a dream called Penacony, but some have dreams that are no different from reality. I have a wish I want to achieve so badly in the real world, but I can't. So, I want to give it a shot here.
Afterwards, no matter what option you pick, she decides to tell you that she's diagnosed with
Entropy loss syndrome. Have you heard of this term? It's a strange condition. Those suffering from it will experience an irreversible chronic dissociation of their physical structure. This means they will slowly fade away. And the process is barely noticeable to others.
Guys, this reminds me of Heavenly Delusion. You guys remember that one? Dr. Usume. No! Don't! Just skirt that underneath the rug. Firefly, take it away.
You can still run, jump, and talk as usual. Everything seems normal. But then you'll start doing everything slightly slower than others. And then even slower than that. Until the lines between your body and the entire world become blurry. You won't be able to tell reality from dreams because they have all been shattered. So how could I possibly resist it? I mean, can you imagine? I can actually free myself from this icy medical cabin in this dream. I can forget about all the doctor's advice. I can listen and see and touch and think and understand whatever I want with my body. So although this world isn't real, this experience is priceless.
Her aspirations to meet the Watchmaker is supposedly tied to the condition that she suffers from. Although she may never find a cure, she still wants to find a way that allows her to enjoy the falsality, this deception of life. This chapter will surmise the possibility of Firefly and implications of her being alive. There are two possible accounts, which will be divided into this section. The first is Firefly's connection to the Stellaron Hunters, and the other is the departure and our conclusion of this story. Everything leading up to this is based off what we know as of 2.0, meaning that what may come forward are only hypotheticals that could be subject to change in later updates. With this in mind, let's dive into
Get on the rock! Get up to burn!
Firefly could be the pilot behind Sam. Leading into the mission, should one awaken at midnight, we come to find out that the Stellaron Hunters are another group interested in the cryptic invite to Penacony. Silverwolf contacts us from our phone to express.
The family is obviously hiding something, right? Well, we've nabbed some valuable information, and out of the goodness of my heart, I've decided to share it with all of you. Although it unfortunately means your idyllic break in paradise is nearing its end.
Make note of this as I continue. She then gives us a code to upload into our dream pool that gives us the coordinates to the dreamscape version of the Reverie, the place where our adventure in Penacony first arrived, and the subsequent answer to Firefly's fate. For any communication, Silverwolf delivers the message.
Also, I forward to the meeting. He's a straight shooter who values a fair fight. I think you'll get along with him just fine. Don't be overwhelmed by his enthusiasm. Oh, he had me relay a message to you. Ahem. The curtains have just risen over the dream that can't be reached.
Not much is known about San as of yet, but we do know that he was a mecha designed by the Republic of Glamar, and that he's now a Stellaron hunter. They were known for their fleets of warships and technological capacity to manufacture legions of mecha meant to defend against their enemy, the Swarm. Sam was once a part of the Iron Cavalry, created by the Glamoth, that fell under the command of Titania, an empress that held no power from the Aeons, but had the ability to telepathically control the knights connected to her. These knights, clad in mechanical armor, descended from the sky and wiped out the sun-swallowing Swarm. They were like warriors born to fight the Swarm. No one knew the faces lying beneath the mask of the Iron Cavalry, but their arrival was like a gift from the gods, bringing the light of day back to the human world. But as the battle raged on, after decades of bloody battles, the remains of mechas and insect limbs turned into dense debris strewn throughout the Glamoth star system, connecting with each other to form a river of death. They weren't defeated by the Swarm, but from themselves. So how does this connect to Firefly? We know that her homeworld was destroyed, in her words, by...
Probably the doing of the Legion or the Swarm.
And later in the mission, whodunit? We find out via one of her old memories that she was found conversing with another party.
If I'm not wrong, it has to do with the Watchmaker.
She mentioned your name.
Thinking of you even in your absence. Seems like you two were pretty close. She seems to be sharing her discovery with someone, and it's related to the Watchmaker.
Further on, you get to interact with some of Firefly's memories strewn about the setting, detailing the conversation between her and this mysterious second character.
Why did you... This isn't what we agreed on. Mecca... Why?
If you interact with the memory, Black Swan says, Mecha? What an intriguing statement. I recall the Bloodhound family is pursuing a criminal, a tall male in silver armor. From this event, we figure out that Firefly was an informant of the Stellaron Hunters. The statement at the beginning when we first met Firefly was that the guards were looking for a silver-haired stowaway. This was later changed to a male suspect by Gallagher, but now it's a sentiment that relates to Sam as described to as a tall male in silver armor. The speculation that the two are one and the same does hold some weight, not as a one-to-one comparison, but as an implication of a similar status like the Iron Cavalry Knights in Glamoth Empress Titania. Perhaps Firefly uses Sam to get around her physical disabilities created by
Entropy loss syndrome.
just like the Empress, she telepathically gets Sam to do her bidding. Then what about Firefly dying in the dreamscape? If we assume at the end of the same story mission that Sunday describes as
Somehow, a nightmare called death has descended upon Penacony, striking indiscriminately, bringing spiritual death to all equally.
to not be the memory zone meme, something unto death, then perhaps she may still be alive in the real world. But yeah, that's quite a bit of a stretch. Then that begs the question, why did she dissolve into a puddle shortly after being impaled? The player at the beginning of the Penacony arc gets the same treatment when they get sliced by Akron, but they hadn't been harmed. Why, you may ask? Perhaps it was because they weren't directly connected to the dream pool on Penacony and still were on the Astro Express. If we deduce that to be the same thing for Firefly, and that she was remotely connected to the dreamscape, then the math would add up. Here's where it gets deeper. What about Robin? Why did she die? What makes her so different? Her body was still there in the dreamscape for a while after being slashed. We can come to this conclusion because Adventurine knew of the incident and chose to be silent until we were directed to the room. If Robin's case proves to be true and she was killed by something unto death, then it would serve as another bit of evidence that Firefly is still alive. Doubt. What a sweet, sweet melody. What if Firefly was dead from the start? If you remember Chadwick's storyline, then you could see where this is going. If you skipped it because it's not voiced, then yeah, I don't blame you. Well, to summarize this, Chadwick was number 79 of the prestigious Genius Society around 2 Ember eras ago, or approximately 152 to 480 years ago in our calendar. He invented what we might relate to today as the atomic bomb. Look, he's basically the intergalactic version of Oppenheimer.
No, this can't be. My bomb. It kills people.
He happened to destroy 6 trillions of lives, or 24 planets for short. After immense guilt and pressure, he felt that he was being followed by the IPC, so he broke out, asked Screwlum to help him essentially escape his past, and when he died of natural causes, the IPC immediately extracted and stored his memory in a memory bubble made by the Guardian of Recollection, an area that you might know from a little someone. So when we meet him at Dream's Edge, what we're essentially talking to is not a man, but only a figment of someone's memory, essentially memory recollection. Let's say Firefly had this procedure done on her, meaning that she was already dead IRL. She couldn't handle the anguish of waking up every day, losing touch of what may have been reality or not, slowly slipping away, the disease distancing her further and further from the outside world. If she chose to become part of the dream world, then she would be free from its shackles. When she talks about not being a local of the dreamscape, perhaps it's just in a general sense. As someone that logs into the dreamscape also has the ability to leave it and return to reality. This would mean that there's no saving grace and would make sense with how she keeps bringing up dreams. Honestly, this would make it darker than it already is, and there's no hard supporting evidence to back this theory, but the implication of Chadwick's procedure does make the world of Honkai Star Rail seem bigger than one may have seemed to believe. But hey, what do I know? Let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think could have been added? And I'll see you next time when I decide to cover Acheron.